What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Let's have a little chat about CGC. Let's talk about what we would like to see happen here in a perfect world. And this is coming from my background on the card side of things in regards to how we see situations like this play out when things are called into, let's say, questionable authenticity, or maybe the grade isn't exactly what we all kind of thought that it was, because things are handled a lot different on that side. And I think, from my perspective, I was like, well, obviously this is what they should do. And I ran this past some people and they looked at me like I had five heads. They're like, what? That never happens over here. We don't do things like that. That's crazy. So CGC is obviously in this bind where, this scandal has gone down that basically calls into question the security of their slab, their standards and practices around reholders, and that there could be, if you look at the CGC forum thread, potentially upwards of $1 million worth of fraudulent items out on the marketplace. Now, we don't know if all those are, there's a lot of moving parts here, but at minimum, what I personally would like to see them do is, one, a public statement would be fantastic. Acknowledge that something happened. I get it. You might have to put it in PR speak, but to at least say, hey, we are aware. We have actively investigating. We are actively investigating. We are actively looking into this. However you want to word it, we are going to pursue whatever these people are involved to the full legal extent that we can. We're still gathering details. We hope to update you on some changes, policies, and procedures in the near future, because I am sure this is an in-depth investigation on their side and that they are taking this seriously. They just might not be publicly, well, they're not as of yet, publicly letting us know that. I think the other thing that needs to happen, and this is the thing that I am adamant about, they have to, we joked about it last night on the live stream. They have got to stand behind their air quote guarantee that really doesn't exist. But at minimum, one, any certification number that was reholdered by this person and maybe even potentially sent in for grading should be deactivated immediately. This Hulk 181, this is the one that Automatic found out. This has been over a week. This cert's still active. There is no way in hell this certification should still be active, everything that we know about this book. This is not an act. This is missing the Marvel value stamp. We are 98.9% sure about that. When I type this cert number in, and this is how PSA handles it. When I type this cert number in, it should pop up and say this certification number has been deactivated. Please contact CGC at X, Y, or Z, whatever. Here's the email address. Here's the phone number. Please reach out to us for further instructions if you are the owner of this book. And that's what it should say for every book submitted by this person. Then take them on a case-by-case basis. Have the current owner of that book send that into CGC. Have them evaluate it. Because let's be honest, some of the things that this person submitted probably are 100% legit. And there are some things that are 100% not legitimate. So get those in hand, look at them, determine if, hey, this book actually on the up and up. You're good here. Return it to the client. Maybe you even issue a new certification number to kind of clean it from the registry. Deactivate the old one, verify that it's clean, and create a new cert number for it to kind of start fresh with that one. If, for example, this 181 that we know is bad, buy that back from the customer at current market value. I know that they're probably not going to want to get into what was possibly paid for it. There's ways that they can handle that, but regardless, in some way, shape, or form, financially compensate the owner of the book in question. Whatever it is. If it was a recent sale, then, give it back to them, whatever they recently bought it for. That would probably be current fair market value. If this stuff goes back years, which it sounds like it could, then you'd probably just have to use FMV unless they had like exactly what they paid for it. What PSA does is you get fair market value, basically. You get current comps of whatever that item presently sells for, which in some cases that can benefit you if the item skyrocketed in price. And in some cases, it could blow up in your face if the market's tanked since you bought it. But them are kind of the breaks. Nothing's going to be perfect here. And no matter what they do, people will be mad. But at a bare minimum, you have to protect the people from purchasing these fraudulent books because they don't know. The community has only identified a handful of them, and there's a ton of questions about all the other ones. You have the information. Deactivate those cert numbers and then have people send the books back into you and handle it on a case-by-case basis, depending on the situation of that book. You don't even have to publicly list every book that's in question. PSA doesn't do that. When PSA deactivates a cert number because a card becomes questionable, they don't put out a press release and say it. They don't put out a forum post and say it. Just when you look up that cert number, boom, there it is. It's up to the end user collector to double check that stuff. Now, maybe in this case, because of this unique situation, they would do something like that. I don't think they will, because I don't think that they would want to show exactly how many books are affected. At least if you deactivate the cert number and say, hey guys and girls, check your books, that gives them some PR wiggle room to not release, oh God, there is 10,000 books affected by this, or whatever the number is, or maybe it's only 50, 100, I don't really know. It allows them to keep that information, air quote, private, but would still allow an owner of that book to be compensated for it. Then they obviously need to figure out what exactly went wrong here and fix that going forward. We talked on the live stream about, maybe there needs to be some sort of identifier on the inner well that matches the cert number on the label itself. Maybe it's hidden. Maybe you don't even know that it's there, whatever the case is. But there's something that CGC can compare those two things. And then obviously a more tamper evident slab, because clearly either the slab itself, the security is in question on it, or at minimum, you have really bad policies and procedures around your reholder policy. But I think those are the bare minimum things we need to see have happen. Address it publicly, even if it's boilerplate PR. Deactivate the cert numbers in question. Make the customers whole, and then fix whatever the loopholes are going forward, whether that's a policy and procedure thing or enhancing security, adding features, whatever you need to do to the slab. The ball is really in their court. They could, I don't want to say turn this into a win, but they could really take a stepping stone forward with this if they address this stuff head on. It's, the cat's already out of the bag. It's all over the place at this point. And they could even use the fact that, hey, it was a holiday. We needed to dig into all this. This is why, we waited a week or two to address this publicly, which technically is fair. Like a major company like this has to do a deep investigation on it. I would have liked to seen something immediately that just said, hey, we know something's going on. FYI, we will update you after we complete an investigation on it. I do feel like they drug their feet on that, but they don't typically address this stuff publicly as is. So we'll see what happens if we see any of these things happen. But I think at bare minimum, those handful of things need to happen to kind of save things here a little bit. Curious for your thoughts and comments down below. What does CGC need to do to regain your trust in the system? Is this affecting your buying decisions? Is this affecting your purchasing patterns? I'm still actively buying and looking at CGC graded books. I'm just taking a couple extra steps when I'm buying. That's where I kind of sit with it. As we've talked about, I am not going to let these third-party companies affect how I operate in this space and the things that I want to go after. And like it or not, a large percentage of CGC books are perfectly safe. The ball is now in their court to make this right. We'll see what they do. Catch boys and girls in the next one. Peace.